Hey, what's up guys? I wanted to make this video just for all you guys out there who are looking to take advantage of the power of Ableton as a keyboard player. My whole story behind this is that I myself a couple months back wanted to be able to take advantage of Ableton and all that it can offer to you as a musician, or especially as a keyboard playing musician. At the time it was really hard because not a whole lot of people use Ableton as a keyboard player. A lot of people use it as their mixers and stuff, but you know, for somebody who has that specialty, there just wasn't a whole lot out there, and I had to go and sort of figure this out by myself. But here I am, and I feel like I'm in a good spot today, that I've gotten everything I think I need to be able to play live, as well as to be able to just jam at home and have everything just at your disposal. One thing before I get started, I want to warn you guys that this is a general overview, and that as you try to do this yourself, you're going to need to experiment, because, you know, as they always say, the devil's in the details, and you know, the smallest detail might drive you crazy. I'm going to try to go over some of the little tips I found out, but not make this video too long. Alright, so with that, let's get right to it. Alright, so oh geez, gotta back up. Alright, so I want to go over the key components of the setup. Alright, so starting from the bottom, you got your damper pedal, obviously. You got your Boss FS6 foot switch. It's a double foot switch there. I got my keyboard, obviously. I won't go over the keyboard too much because, you know, you're watching this as a keyboard player. You probably have your own thing. Coming around the back, we got the ultimate stand. You don't have to have one of these. They're kind of pricey, but you know, the double X-brace stands that a lot of people have are going to be just fine in most cases. Alright, got your computer, obviously. You got your, well, I got an Ableton Push, but you can choose your own controller just based on your own needs. You got a sound card here, alright, and then you got your mic, and I got headphones. I'll go over each of these briefly one by one. Alright, so starting at the bottom. So, actually no, change my mind. I'm going to start right here with that sound card. Alright, so the sound card is your centerpiece, alright? It is actually everything that runs in your system runs through that guy. So you're going to need to make sure you buy a sound card that has a couple important features. The more inputs you have, the better. The reason I say that is because if you want to add any instrument to your setup, especially a live instrument, you're gonna have the flexibility to do so. You know, what would suck is you buy like a 2-input sound card and then you run out of inputs and you can't do anything with it anymore. All right, so more inputs the better. The other thing you want to have is, for me, is right here is a button that is for direct monitoring. Now, what a direct monitoring function does is that it allows you to play your keyboard's built-in sounds directly out through the speakers without going through any of the lag and the processing that would sort of be in the middle, in between the sound signal. Now, that's really nice if, in case, especially like you want to perform live and you just want to say, screw it, I just want to play something that's coming right out of my keyboard, not out of my computer. Then you hit that thing and boom, you're right there. So that's very, very important to have. Alright. Okay, after the sound card, you got your computer is hooked into your sound card. That's pretty much it. I got 2 USBs coming out of here. One USB is going straight into the sound card. Any instruction manual for these things will tell you that you want to hook this directly into your computer, because there's a lot of data flowing through that cable, in and out. And I have another USB which hooks into a hub which connects to all of the other USB devices that I have hooked up here. So I have a grand total right now. So that's a hub, and the hub is hooked into the push. I got some LED lighting, so just for the mood and whatever. And then I got the USB that's coming out of the keyboard, the MIDI that's coming out of the keyboard. Let me see what else. I think that's it, but it allows you to do more if you need to. Okay, so moving back here, how do you hook up your keyboard? So the keyboard I got right here. Let's see here. Okay, so I got right here. This is just your standard instrument cable delivering the signal, the audio signal from your keyboard out to the sound card, and the sound card I have these hooked up to my actual monitors here. So the sound card is delivering obviously the sound. So this particular cable is needed in case, like I just said, if you want to do a direct monitoring option, or the other one would be if you have some really cool sounds on your keyboard and you want to record those into Ableton. Alright, so that's what this is for. Okay, back to also having more instrument inputs is always better on your sound card. Okay. The next thing here is I have these two foot switches which are hooked up directly into that Boss FS6 down there. Now this foot switch serves a very important function that I've sort of discovered later on. Alright, and that function, I'll just stay right here, that function is to allow you to trigger a record session on your Ableton with your foot. Now the reason why you want to do that is because you're a piano player and you got two hands on the keyboard. You can't use one hand to go up there and hit a record button on your keyboard or on your controller and still get all the notes you wanted to hit on the keyboard. So having that hooked in, which actually what it really does is it passes a MIDI signal. Actually, I think what it really does is it passes some signal here, and then the keyboard translates that into a MIDI signal, which goes out through this MIDI signal or MIDI cable into my hub and into my computer eventually. So what it really does is it sends a MIDI signal to your computer to tell it to start recording and stop recording. A very, very handy thing to have. Alright. Alright, the next thing is a controller. There's not a whole lot to say about this. You basically go and find a controller that suits your needs depending on what you want to do. I like to make a lot of EDM kind of stuff, so having a more sophisticated controller like this that has like a drum sequencer and even like instrument features on it and a lot of arranging and sort of manipulations is very, very helpful. Alright, but you can get away with like an APC or like a launch pad, or really just depending on what you want to do. Right, so mic, if you're into that kind of stuff, or you have somebody else who's into that kind of stuff, having a mic hooked into your sound card is just part of the deal. Finally, I have my headphones. The headphones are also hooked into the sound card. Now those headphones are useful really only in one situation that I've found so far, is to use it for recording vocals or recording a live instrument when you don't want to put your mix through your speakers and muddy it up. It's not really all that useful, I think, for like say a live situation, because it doesn't. So what your sound card doesn't do is it doesn't feed back the mix from the main mixer. So you're probably going to need another sort of a line in to another set of earphones or whatever. But if you have that going on, you probably have other people helping you out. Okay, so that said, any more tips? Something very critical for me, alright? I know everybody who plays keyboard and they're really, really particular about the position of that keyboard. Alright, so I have right here, which is not really sort of a chair height, it's sort of in between a stool height and a chair height, sort of in between there, so I can get my feet sort of halfway on the floor and all that. The reason why is because you need to have these two tiers, but you also need to be able to access both of these tiers equally well and pretty quickly. So that's why, even if you have, or in my case, an ultimate stand, which is very useful for adjusting height, as long as your X-Brace or your more standard stand has two tiers and it has the height adjustable feature, that's going to be able to do it for you. Alright, so I kind of have this set up at a height that is sort of just below my knee, or just above my knee. And the reason I do that is it gives me enough clearance from here to here so that I can actually see some of the controls down there, and if I want to bang on the keys real hard, I'm not slamming into this thing. Alright, and this is at a height, I would say, sort of elbow height, the second tier, which has my computer, my sound card, and my push. I found this to be kind of the perfect height. Finally, oh yeah, a couple things about positioning. As you can see, I have this positioned next to this, and I have the sound card back there. I can't tell you how many days and weeks and experiments I've spent to try to get these three components positioned correctly where they're all accessible but not in each other's way and not falling off the side of your setup. So this is all sort of one of those details I was talking to you about at the beginning of the video. This particular sort of board here is really just something I picked up from Home Depot. It's really just a piece of, I don't remember if it's plywood or, no, I guess it's a particle board. And I just pasted on some really thin sort of standard rug adhesive material on top, sort of give it that nice feel to it. But it's really, really, really important that the size of this board is large enough to accommodate everything that you see here. And the other thing that's really important, which I think I screwed up with when I tried plexiglass and plywood, is that if it's not perfectly flat, you're gonna have problems. Because if it's not perfectly flat, you know, your laptop will be wobbling, your controller will be wobbling, and you're banging on the keys down there, the whole darn thing will be wobbling, and it's just going to drive you crazy because it's just going to be clicking and clacking and just sort of dancing around, and you want everything to be sort of solid and tight, so it's not going to be, you know, adding extra sound effects that you don't want while you're playing. So that's really important. And as you can see, I actually have this controller tilted to face me. Another small detail that I found over time is really, really important, because if you're sitting there playing and you can't see, let's say, what's on the display up here, or you can't really easily access what's up here, it just makes it that much more hard for you to be able to do what you want to do on the fly. Alright, so that's kind of all that I have. Shoot me any questions if you have any, and really looking forward to maybe hearing some comments on this video. And if you're a keyboard player and you want to use Ableton, you know, I'd love to meet you. Shout out. It's always a good community of musicians out there to get to know. Alright, take it easy.